Hi.
Hey,
Do you believe in God?
yes, I do. I'm a Christian.
Oh, how do you do? So, what is your evidence for God?
My evidence for God is how He changes everybody's lives, especially mine. How is that? How is that? How are you gonna tell me that's false? Tell
Well,
me how.
what did he find? Did he find your car keys for you?
Nah, He did way more than that, bro. I just want to tell you that God loves you,
What did he
bro.
do for you? What did he do for you?
What He did for me, bro? I was in the streets, bro. I was trying to kill people, bro. He saved my life from all of that. He really
How?
touched my
How
heart,
did
bro.
God? How did God save you?
I was just at night, bro, and I felt Him touch my heart. You just gotta
So
open your
what?
heart up to
So
Him, bro.
he walked into your room and touched your heart, and you had open heart surgery.
Bro, listen, you can make fun of him and everything, bro,
No,
but a lot
I'm
of us
curious.
know.
I'm curious. Look, I'm curious as to what you mean by this, right?
Of
How do you know
course.
that you experience God in your heart?
Well, I felt him. I felt his peace. I felt his love.
And I understand you felt peaceful, but how do you distinguish a feeling of peaceful coming from your own body versus God doing it? Right? How
You
do you
can
know which
hear, you
one's
can,
right?
when you have a connection with the Lord, you can hear him.
Hear what?
You can hear voices of his.
You can hear voices.
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand that there are certain mental
Right. So
conditions
hold on. Let me
like
ask you something.
schizophrenia where you
Let
may
me
hear
ask you something.
voices? There
All
could
right,
be
let me ask you something. So
hallucinations.
you're telling me that 4 billion or 2 billion people or of Christians that believe in God, they're just all demented, right? They're just all crazy, right?
Oh, they're just misinformed or
Right,
biased.
right,
They're biased just like you are, right?
right,
What's happening is you probably are feeling something that you can't explain and you're attributing it to
right.
God.
So what is it? Oh, oh, we no answer, right?
I didn't
What
hear
is
you,
it? What
sir.
I said, what is it that I'm feeling then? Since you're the
Oh, well,
scientist.
yeah, that's a good question, right?
Right,
Feelings
right.
come about through certain chemical secretions in the brain: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. When you have anxiety, certain chemicals are released, and when you come out of that, certain chemicals are also released. And this can be random at sometimes.
Listen, bro,
It can be
God is not
arbitrary when those
scientific.
chemicals are
God
released.
is
Yeah.
not scientific, bro. He's about peace
Okay.
and
Well
love, bro. Just
then
open
let's
your heart, bro. You're
look. I
being like very
look.
rude, bro, and
Look, sir.
just
Look. I understand where you're coming from. I used to be a Christian too, and you want to believe badly that this guy's helping you. But
all
I'm a rational person who wants good
right,
reasons to believe. And unfortunately, in your situation, we have ulterior explanations that do a better job than, oh, some magic man help me. I mean, how about all the people that aren't being helped, like the people who are like children dying in Gaza, right? How about
well,
the
that's
people who pray to God and still don't get help? What was God doing then? Was he bowling?
well, bro. You gotta understand that we're living in a sinning world. Like people like you and people like that just hate God, that just hate the thought of Him, bro. And if you think that He's not real, bro, you really need help. That you think that this world was made by a boom, bro, and that's not how it is, bro. That's really
That's a
you believe
straw
in the
man.
Big Bang. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Do you know what the Big Bang was?
Bro, you believe in a flipping. Oh, the dust just created the
Yeah.
world, bro.
So what's the Big Bang? Can you tell us what the Big Bang is?
I don't know about no Big Bang, bro, but I know that y'all atheists believe
Right.
that it
Right.
was nothing. So
No,
what? You
no.
believe in
So
monkeys? You believe we was monkeys, right?
no, so you don't understand what the Big Bang was, and how
Right.
can you possibly critique it if you don't even know what you're
All right.
talking
So
about?
so how do you believe we was in Earth? How do you believe that we came to Earth? We just
Uh,
what?
well,
What?
that there's entire fields of science dedicated to understanding this: cosmology, astronomy,
So
geology.
so
We
boom.
show
So
that
boom. Like I was saying.
over time, there is a cosmic evolution. Gas clouds can collapse into stars. Stars can form star systems.
No way,
Planets
yo.
can form. These are very well understood phenomenon that we can observe and see happening in the universe. There's no evidence of a magic wizard waving his wand and saying, "Poof, let there be light,"
What?
and everything magically popped into. We don't see that. What we see is the things I'm describing: the nebular hypothesis, which describes stellar evolution. We have no evidence of a God, sir. Zero.
Right, right. So you go to a church that they be healing people and all these things, bro. You just gotta see, bro, for real. You gotta open your eyes, bro, for real, though. Like, if you just open your heart to him, bro. Just seek him for real. You gonna feel him in your heart. Just want to let you know that
God,
he loves you, man.
God, where's God? How do I see
All
God?
right, bro.
How do I
Listen,
seek him? Let's get him here.
they
Let's get
all
him
hate
here.
it.
Let's get God here. Let's see him.
Just not doing those bum faces, bro. Trust me, not like that.
Okay,
Open up
then
your
how do we
heart,
do
bro.
it? How do we get God here?
Go ahead at your night. Go ahead at night, bro. Cry to God, bro. Watch how you gonna feel him in your heart.
Okay.
He changed my life, bro, from trying to kill people, bro. I'm at peace trying to
God.
tell people about the love of God. You see
Look,
how you mimic it? You see how you
no,
mimic
no,
it?
no, look,
Bro.
sir. I am very glad that you are a better person. But guess what?
Right,
We can change
right.
by our own on
Of
our own terms.
course.
We can help
Right.
ourselves. You are underestimating your own power in helping yourself to change.
Everything I do is for the glory of God, bro. I don't do it for
You
myself. You
can
think
you can you can
all
say
right,
that,
so
but
you
that
think I
doesn't
wanna
make
be
it
sin
true.
you think I don't wanna be sinning over here? You don't think I wanna be all doing all these things, bro? I wanna be doing these things, bro, but I believe in God so powerfully that I don't, bro.
No,
You need Jesus,
you
bro.
are
You need some love, bro.
you have there's a part of the brain called the amygdala.
Here we go,
That
bro. Doctor, okay.
not a doctor. It's basic science. It seems like you skipped it in class. But there are parts of the brain that are responsible for critical thought, for certain types of emotional based thinking, and that's what you're doing now, right? What you're doing is you have that part of the brain makes you think, hey, let's not do this. You feel guilty for doing certain things. You feel bad for doing certain things. That's in all of us, sir. It's called having a brain. Your brain causes you to have impulse control. And that's what explains it way better than some magic being coming into your heart one night magically and fixing you. That's preposterous. When we see lots of other people who do the same, who are still Christian, and are maniacs, and are a lot of people, a lot of people in jail are Christian. How do you explain that? If they believe in God, yet they are still troublemakers. We cannot hear you if you're muted. You're muted right now.
All right. I said, how can you explain that? You can get saved, bro.
You're not
Because
saved. You think you're saved, but what's happening is
right.
you are
All right, so
going
let me ask
through
you this. Let me
you're
ask you
going through
this.
a psychological evolution that you don't
Right.
understand. So you're saying God did it when you're not understanding that the brain can change over time. You
Right.
can have new ideas. You can be
Right.
stimulated in certain ways that you don't quite understand.
All right. So let me ask you this. So if God is not real in your senses, right?
Senses?
Yeah, in your mind, God is not real, right?
I don't. Yeah, God's not real to me.
I want to say, bro, is that Jesus loves you. Just do what I said, or go at night, cry out for Jesus, and he'll answer you. I
Say
promise you that
Jesus
one.
loves me. But if he really loved me, why wouldn't he need me to beg for his existence to be true? Why wouldn't he just exist and help me regardless of who I am? Why must I beg for God for him to help
So
me? That
you have
seems
to have
like
obedience. You have to have your
that's something
obedience to your Creator, bro.
that's something what a barbaric king would do, not a loving being, right? So if
Hey,
Jesus
bro.
really loved me, he wouldn't wait for me to beg for him to save me. He would help me before I
So what you're trying to say is God has to be obedient to you because you want Him to show up to you and tell Him that you have to love Him, bro.
Sure.
No, bro. God
If
does
I
what He
have a
wants.
child, like imagine if I had a child,
All right.
that child might be a troublemaker. But does that mean I get to sit there and say, no, child, I'm not going to help you until you beg for my help? That's ridiculous. I would help my child regardless if it wanted it or not.
He
Because
wants a
I'm the
relationship
parent.
with you, bro.
I'm the one who's responsible for that being. Just like God. God's responsible for our existence. Why doesn't he help us regardless of how we feel about him?
Amen. Like
Okay?
I said,
Have a
seek
good
Him,
day,
man.
sir.
He
Enjoy.
loves you.
I understand you're coming from a place of love, and that's great, but it's misplaced. Instead of loving some magical entity, love people, love each other. Don't love some magic imaginary being. Stop attributing these things to some magic imaginary being and attribute to other people helping you and get help from other people. Hey, what do you got?
Mike Wazowski. Mike Wazowski.
Oh, we got the crazy ones tonight. Hey, how can I help you?
Hello?
Hi. What do
Like,
you
I
got?
just want to make it real quick. So you believe that there is no creator at all?
Correct.
What makes you think that?
Well, we can explain everything without a creator. We can just say that there are natural reasons for things.
But wouldn't it like always come down to something must have created that in order to happen?
No, but if you're going to say that, use that logic, well, then what created God?
Well, in the context of the Bible, God is in another dimension. God is outside of our known dimensions of like time
He was
and
always there. He was always there.
that. Oh, that's what we believe. Yeah.
Right. So why, just like you say God was always there, why can't we say the universe is always there?
Well, I'm not like too informed on the Big Bang, but the Big Bang implies that it wasn't always there, that something started it, right?
No, the Big Bang does not imply at all if there was a beginning or not. The Big Bang implies that there's an expansion, but that expansion could stop and end even though the universe be infinite. So there's no necessity for a causer or a creator. The universe could be infinite.
But-
It could
but
be everywhere, for all times.
But the expansion started somewhere. That's what you're saying?
The expansion applies to all of space and time, but yeah, there might be a time where our local expansion occurred, but there might be a time before that where there was a previous state of existence in some kind of multiverse or some other dimension, like you just talked about. So it's possible that there's a physical explanation for existence or for our universe. We don't need a being. We don't need a man with a big beard to make us. You can just have a physical, natural explanation.
And do you think we'll ever find that answer?
There's
you
lots
can't-
of there's lots of great ideas about this. There's inflation. There's inflation. There's the Big Bang models. There's inflation. There's quantum mechanics. There's string theory. All of these attempt at trying to discover the most fundamental part of reality, and it seems to be that there is no God needed. Right? There's no God required. God seems to be a made-up idea.
And do you think it's a made up idea based on the fear of the afterlife or the fear of like accepting that we might just be an accidental cause and that our lives are kind of meaningless if there is no God?
Well, yes, those are assessments that people would make without understanding the full context of the world around them. I mean, of course, you're going to think that there's no meaning without God, but in my shoes and from my perspective, there's plenty of meaning because I can make meaning. I can help
for
people.
sure.
I can love people. I can do things that are meaningful without God or not. So, so the point is that from my perspective, not only is there an explanation for the universe that's very well, this was a good explanation, but also I can get everything that you claim to get from God. I can get from science and all these other things, and I don't need any God at all for that. It seems like you were saying, God is just a figment of our imaginations.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just like I'm trying to put myself in other people's shoes because like me personally, I do believe in that there is some sort of creator. I have a hard time like
Why?
aligning
Why?
myself
What-
with that.
Why? What's your reason for that?
I think it's just if for my thinking of it is that if you go back far enough, there must have been something. Nothing can come out of nothing. You know what I mean? You can't get something out of nothing.
I don't know what nothing is. I never said it came from nothing. What we're saying is that there's a physical but natural explanation. And these are big questions, right? What is the origin of everything? But there is some, like I said, there are
Oh,
some
that's
good
right.
explanations. Look up inflation theory, look up string theory. These are all our
Mm-hmm.
best ideas that attempt at explaining reality. God did it is not an explanation, right? Saying God did
Oh,
it,
it's
that's
definitely not.
not.
It's a leap of faith.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? I don't have faith to believe in something that I can't demonstrate because I don't want to be dishonest with myself and just blindly believe, yeah, God real, God real. I want to really know what's out there. And for that to happen, for you to really know, you have to withhold some of your most desired beliefs. And that includes God, that includes religion.
Uh-huh.
Maybe these things are not the end all be all. Maybe there's something different that's true. And that's why we ought to be cautious before we just sit there and say, yep, God did it, God did it. That is very ridiculous and pretentious.
Well, I'm gonna just end it off with this because I don't really have much else to say. But you said that you want to know the truth, and I think for a lot of people that do believe in religion, it's not more so the fact that they want to ignore the facts or the theories on how the universe could be created, but it's the fact that I think we will really never know. We can like give explanations on how it possibly might
Okay,
how it
okay. So
possibly.
if we will never know, then why would you be so dishonest and say you know it's God?
For me personally, I wouldn't say that. Like, because I believe we're all
Okay,
entitled to
then
believe.
why would you believe in God if there's no good evidence for it?
Because I feel like there's not enough evidence to go against God.
What do you? That doesn't make any sense. Just
No, yeah,
because there's no
because
evidence
you can't.
against something. Look, Cancer, for example.
The same
If
way
I
you
if I
can't.
if I told you that unicorns exist, what would you say?
I would say no.
No, right? But I would say,
Yeah.
well, there's no evidence against unicorns. Does that make unicorns more likely?
No. Well, no. That's a valid point.
Exactly. So just because there's no counter data doesn't mean that that claim is any more true, right? So that's the problem here. Whether or not there's a counter towards your claim, it doesn't make it any more true. And that's why you're being dishonest by saying God is real. Trust me, bro, because there's no evidence. And I'm sorry.
All right then. Well, it was nice talking.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a simple
echo.
question. I wanted to ask a simple question.
You have an echo?
I have an echo. Wait a second.
Keep tapping, guys, and keep commenting for the algorithm.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have
echo.
one question.
Still an echo.
Wait. Now?
Hello?
Hello is now better?
Nope.
Wait, I'm gonna try guess again. Wait a second.
Hi.
Can you hear me better?
Let me try this.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
No, it's not okay. I'm gonna go to the next person. Still an echo. I tried to do that and it didn't work for me. You guys heard the echo, right? Hello? Yeah.
Be quick with it. Honestly, I understand that for atheists it's hard to believe because honestly, there's no way you can give 100% proof for God's existence. And it's really just like you got to believe and you got to have faith as a Christian.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, and you have no evidence for God? Just faith?
There's no way you can have 100% proof that he exists.
Yeah, I don't really care about proof. I just want some reasons. Do you have any good reason to believe or just faith?
I mean, faith, and then there is physical evidence as well. You can go look it up yourself.
Oh, really? What's the physical evidence of God?
I mean, like the records of people talking about him, the Bible, the tons of stuff, man.
Records of people talking about him. There's
The
records
Bible.
of people talking about Bigfoot, right? Does that mean Bigfoot is real?
Bro, I already told you. I don't know what else you want me to say, man. It's mainly faith.
Okay. Well, I have faith that you're wrong, so I win, right? Oh no, faith is bad. Hello?
Yo,
Hi, what's your argument today?
yeah. So you believe a Big Bang?
Yeah, do you know what the Big Bang is?
Is that what you believe?
Yeah, do you know what the Big Bang is?
Yeah,
What is it?
yeah. A Big Bang happened. The universe expanded. They're trying to say a very rapid
Okay,
expansion.
And what is your problem with? What is your evidence of God now?
So instead of God, you got Big Bang, right? So you
No,
worship Big
that's-
Bang. We
No,
worship
that's not how.
God.
That's not how this works. It's not Big Bang or God. That's nonsense. That's a false dichotomy. There's other options there, but the Big Bang has no bearing on the origins of the universe necessarily. The Big Bang could just be a phase the universe goes through, but the universe be infinite. So maybe the universe always existed.
So you're giving the universe godlike powers.
No, not at all, sir. We're saying God's not a genie. He's not a wizard. I'm sorry. The universe isn't a big guy with a big beard in the sky. The universe is just a natural entity with no agency, no mind, no nothing. Can't be a god.
Well, everything we know has a beginning and an end.
Okay,
Why
then
would the universe be different?
Then where did God begin?
God is.
Okay, well, then we can just say the universe is. There you go. No beginning or no ending. Yay, I win, right?
Yeah, so you worship the universe, I worship God. Okay.
I don't worship the universe, so that makes no sense. Look, you're trying to, you can't fathom believing that there is no God. It's so hard for you to fathom that you're trying to make sense of it by injecting God wherever you can. This is a very faulty logic. I'm sorry, sir, but maybe realize that God's not needed for any explanation of the universe. It could be the case that we just exist and we are physically things that evolve through time and change, and that's it. And there is no God, there is no magic wizard out there waiting for us to die. We are just existing.
It makes more sense that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Think
Why does
about
that
it.
make more sense? Why does it make more sense?
But because time had to come first, right? So in the beginning, there's time.
Nope.
God created the heavens. Heavens is space. That would have had to come second, and the earth. And you had to have matter third. Because if you had matter first,
No, sir,
when
that's-
would you make matter?
No, that's nonsense. That's utter gibberish. Time can be infinite. There doesn't have to be a start to time. Time and space are interwoven with each other. They're actually the same fabric of the universe. Matter is not required for space and time, but matter is contained within space and time. But space and time can be infinite. In other words, there is no beginning to it.
Yeah, but that's the order it would have had to be made in. So the
Well, who
Bible.
said that? Who said that?
Okay, if you had matter but no time, when did you have matter?
That makes no sense.
And if you had,
You can have all those things coexist at the same time.
where would you have it if you had no space? You see what
Where
I'm
would you
saying?
have what?
Exactly. Where would you have anything
You're
if you had no
you're
space?
just you're incoherently babbling. Where would you have this if there was no time? Where's your scientific support for this nonsense? Do you have any scientific evidence of this, or just word?
Yeah, we have a science book called the Bible. It's also a history book. It's never been proven wrong. There's literal evidence that you can go and find right
The
now.
Bible is mythology. The Bible talks about talking donkeys, talking snakes, Noah's Ark, a big old flood with all the freaking dinosaurs on it. Talks about Adam and Eve, which never happened, sir. Adam and Eve could not have happened. The
You
Bible
believe
is
you believe
gibberish.
an amoeba. You believe in an amoeba evolved into a person and talked. That's a whole lot
No,
more.
I don't, sir. I don't believe in
far-fetched.
amoeba turning into a person. I don't believe in Power Rangers. What I'm saying is,
Evolution.
what we were saying is there's a bigger context here in regards to biological evolution that you don't frequently understand. Like, for example, do you know what evolution is and how evolution occurs?
Yeah, small changes over a long period of time. It's a fairy
What kind
tale.
of changes? What kind of changes?
Y'all look at every small change. Like all we know is that a dog produces a
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Look, what does speciation mean? Do you know what speciation means?
It's a made up word. All we have is kinds. We
Okay,
have dog
okay.
kinds,
Let me get
cat
this.
kinds.
I just can't talk to somebody who doesn't know what speciation means. But this guest was trying to say that, oh, how can you believe amoeba turn into a person? Well, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. This isn't Pokemon. What we're saying is that there is a cascade of slight, small changes over many millions of years. Speciation occurs when there's enough of these changes and progressively it turns into a different being. Now, this takes generational time. In other words, it's not going to happen in one day. It takes generations and a population basis for those changes to be seen. It's not intuitive. It's not intuitive, but you ought to learn. Go learn science.
Mike, how does one prove anything?
I don't care about proof. Proof is a logical thing. It's a mathematical thing. It is and it refers to definitional statements. But I'm talking about empirical data. I'm talking about logical data that might infer a God or might be evidence of a God. Do you have any evidence, any indicative data for God, or no?
Sure. I mean, like, the thing is, you say you don't care about proof, but you're asking someone to prove something. But the thing is that everything is subjective. So it's like, I mean, proof to me when you eat a sandwich, a ham sandwich don't taste ham.
Yeah, again, I'm not asking for proof of God. I'm asking for evidence. Do you have any evidence?
Yeah, I'd say individuation, unity.
How does unity indicate God exists?
Well, everything. I guess I have to start by asking: do you believe that we are all one unified being, or do we each have individuation?
I don't know, and I don't see how this is relevant to God, though.
So it's relevant to God because I believe that logic is grounded in God. What grounds your logic?
The mind.
Yeah, but what grounds the laws of logic that A cannot equal
The
B?
mind. The mind. These are definitional statements. The mind grounds these things.
How can you trust your own mind in a godless world?
Because we test our minds. We do experiments that test our claims. We perform logical analysis on claims. We compare things to each other, and that's how we come to truth, right? We test, we poke, we try to see what we can get by looking at the world around us. That's how evidence and truth is achieved. We don't go, okay, God, where's the truth, God? And God gives us the answers. We don't need God for any of that stuff. We can get to truth on our own.
No, I do understand. I do understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying to you is that, for example, there's certain laws that exist that are perceived by the mind, and the mind comprehends. But I'm saying these are still laws.
When we say things are laws,
Outside
all we're doing is describing
are-
what. Look, a law is simply a description of what we perceive, and a law can be produced by the mind. You're thinking that there has to be laws
Yes, I
outside in the
understand.
universe somewhere. No, the laws are just descriptions which come from our minds, and they're
Well, then I have an
attempting to
important
describe
question.
things.
Sure, I have an important question. Do you think that laws and concepts exist outside of the human mind?
No, I don't think that.
You don't think that the law of that A cannot equal, or the law of excluded middle doesn't exist outside of the human mind? Let's say we
No, that's
take the
just
human
no,
mind
that's
out of
just
the equation.
yeah, that's just
Take
a
the human mind out of the equation. I'm saying, can A equal A and B outside of the human mind?
there was no such thing as statements outside the human mind. You need in order for statements to exist, you need the human mind or any kind of mind.
All right, Mike.
to make those statements.
Let me ask it this way. Let me ask it this way: If the human mind didn't exist, can a meteor strike Earth? Can it be a meteor and not a meteor at the same time?
No, you're confusing the map for the territory, and a lot of precept apologists do this. They say, well, how can there be contradictions outside of our minds? Well, this is the wrong statement to make. You're confusing the map for the territory. The territory being the universe, the external world, which we don't know its ontology. We don't know the nature of the universe. But the laws, the logical statements we make are made by our minds to describe what we perceive as the external world. So again, logic is mind dependent in my view, and
Sure.
that's a perfectly logical position to hold. There's no reason for God to ground the laws of logic or anything. So what's your actual evidence of God?
Right. So again, I was giving you my evidence of God. The problem is, I think you're taking the stance of an anomalist. You can't really argue against someone that takes this stance. I mean, like based upon your view, which I understand your view 100%. I'm saying to you, that based upon
So then what's wrong with my view, and why are you correct? That's what we care about. I don't care
your
if I'm
view,
a novelist or not.
because your view is unfortunately irrational.
Where? Why? Where's the inconsistency in my view?
Sure, because what you are suggesting is that concepts and laws are perceived by the mind and they really can't exist outside of the human
And
mind.
what's wrong about that?
Because what you're doing is you are opening up a world of radical skepticism, and where you are essentially forfeiting your right to argue intelligibly, Mike, because you could be arguing against your own brain for all you know. If concepts only exist,
What are you talking about?
if concepts only exist inside the
No.
human mind or laws, then you could be arguing your own brain in a corner right now. How can you ground anything?
What do you mean? How would I be arguing my own brain in a corner? That makes no sense.
I'm saying you could be. For all you know, you could be talking to
could be-
yourself right now.
Sir, the same applies to you. This is you're appealing to some kind of a solipsistic view of the world, where you could be a brain in a vat as well if God exists. You could be a brain in a vat. You don't know that you're not a brain in a vat.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying. No, I do know that
Okay,
because
so
I
then-
believe.
so then we both
I
succumb to the same issue.
do know on that. I do know
Sure.
on that because
Sure,
I
we
believe
both-
God grounds everything.
Cal,
I
we
believe God
both
grounds
succumb to the same issue. We're both at a standstill here, because solipsism could be true either way. That's irrelevant, though. What is relevant is my view is not illogical. You have failed to show the inconsistency logically in my view.
Okay, sure. So let me put it this way. So let me word it different. How do you account, or how do you know that we all have our own individual experiences? If concepts are only understood,
Look, sir, whether or not we have individual experiences doesn't mean God exists. So that's irrelevant. What I view, right? What I view is irrelevant to the evidence for God. So, do you have evidence for God?
well, Mike, I appreciate your time. I've given my evidence of what I believe. You are,
No, I don't think you know what evidence is.
Mike. I
Evidence
don't
isn't
think
just
you
a
realize
statement.
that what you're saying, but what you're insinuating.
Evidence is something that is indicative of a conclusion over another, and what I presented is something that you can't overcome, or in other words, turn the table
Well-
towards God existing versus it being a natural physical world. There's nothing
Yeah.
in favor of theism here that you presented.
Well, okay. So let me close with this, Mike. I guess I just want to know, in your subjectively, what would you prefer to see for your evidence of God in your subjective opinion? What would be yours?
Any evidence that convinced me of God's existence, but there is no evidence that you presented today.
Right. So you don't believe that in its most simplest form, God reveals himself through any form of creation.
No. How do you know that God revealed himself? How do you know that God grounds logic? How do you know any of these things? You're just making up claims and statements.
No. I will openly say we were both begging the question, but
Okay, so then why do you think that? So then you just conceded you have no evidence of God.
no. It comes down to both. It comes down to begging the question. But what I'm saying is that yours is more rational than mine, in my opinion. But okay, I will leave it at that. Like I'll let you. I'll stay for the next guest.
Okay, thank you. Mine's more rational than his.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hi.
Well, I want to start here with a question. What do you think faith is? Do you the term faith?
It's
What
a
does it mean?
rational belief without evidence.
Okay. Now, for example, we believe because mainly what I think and what believing in God is, mainly we go based off of experiences and stuff like that. But because when it comes to me, you want to ask evidence like scientific evidence and this and this. Well, you realize when it comes to physics, because I've studied physics, when it comes to physics, even in physics, they use to solve certain equations, they use this one equation, this one number to be able to fix everything. And even my same professors, they said that that number is something that they don't even know if it's going to work, but they use it and they just believe whatever happens there. So when it comes back to it, faith is not really what you said. Faith is something without evidence. No, faith is something that you haven't seen, but you think that's what it is. Because, for example, you didn't see the Big Bang with your own eyes, did you?
We actually have.
No, with your own eyes. I'm talking about you. Not we. I'm talking about you
Yeah.
yourself.
So
Did you see the Big Bang with your
yeah,
own eyes?
we actually have. Do you know what the CMB is?
No. But my
Yeah.
question is,
So the CMB is radiation from the Big Bang that you can literally see in the night sky with a telescope, right? This is direct evidence of the Big Bang.
but I'm asking when you, like exactly you, were you present when that happened? Because when it
We're
comes to
present.
this,
Sure, the Big Bang is still happening. Are you aware of that?
no. For example, same.
Well, okay. Well, then, yeah, it's happening. The Big Bang's still happening, and we can literally directly observe it. So, what else do you got?
For example, to me, most of the thing what God is, we base it off experiences. Because, for example, I can go based
Okay,
off.
how did you experience God? Just get to the experience. Did he
Let me
give
tell
you
you.
your car keys? Did he find your car keys
No,
for
for
you?
example,
Did he
well,
you
you're gonna let me.
tickle? Did he tickle you? What did he do to you?
No. Well, my first thing is because we'll come to evidence. How do you explain people that get healed from cancer or get healed from certain situations when doctors have no explanation? How do you explain that?
Okay, great idea. Well, Mike, there are people that get healed from cancer. We don't know. The doctors don't know what happened there. That must be God, right? Well, hold on a second. Is it possible that the doctors misdiagnosed the patient? Maybe they didn't have the cancer that they thought they did. Maybe it was a less aggressive form of cancer.
So you're saying that there
Hold
can
on,
be.
hold on. There's other possibilities. What if they went into remission spontaneously? And there are documented cases of this because the body fights off cancer cells, right? So we know it's possible. There's a pathway that allows us to understand how people can get healed from disease.
For
Or
example,
how about the fact that it was placebo? Maybe there's a placebo effect going on. Maybe they thought they had cancer, but they weren't. We don't know all the possibilities that can explain. Therefore, you can't just say God did it, right?
well, it's kind of hard
Because
to
it could have been
say.
a plethora of things, especially medicine.
Well, it's kind of hard to say that when, because I've seen it with my own eyes. For example, my own mother, she had a big tumor on her back. It's kind of hard to say, it can't be that when literally the same day that the doctor said we can't do nothing for you, that same day they go to the church, and that same day we pray for them, put hands on them, and praise in the name of Jesus, and out of nowhere that tumor's gone. How can you say out of nowhere just like that something happened? Because you
Yeah.
like just like you're saying, just like saying it
So,
could be this, it could
so
be that.
Alex,
But why can't it be
Alex,
God though?
I understand, and I'm happy that your mother is she better now?
Yeah, she's better. But my question
Good.
is,
I'm happy.
my
Great.
question.
That's fantastic. But hold on a second. If we want to know the truth of the situation, we have to dig further. Do you have any documentation of your mother having these tumors? Do you know What was the diagnosis? Did she see multiple doctors? How many doctors did she see? What kind of doctors did she see? Was there a scan, a CAT scan? Because what if this wasn't actually a tumor? What if it was just like some kind of pimple or some kind of a cyst that
No,
could
it
go away
wasn't
within a day or
tuberculosis.
two?
It wasn't
We don't
tuberculosis.
know what your situation was unless you have medical documentation
No,
that can
there is.
support your idea.
Well, there is proof. There is medical documentation. We did go to the hospital, and we're still fighting off that because a lot of things we had to pay for the surgery and stuff. A lot of different things that didn't work out. The doctor they gave up. And going back to what you said, that the doctors could be wrong. They could have done something this. So going back to it, you're actually giving the fact that men can be faulty. They have a fallacy,
Yeah,
in some.
Alex,
If you go, baby,
Alex,
listen. Let me
hold on a
let me get to my
second.
point.
Alex,
Let me get to my
hold
point.
on.
Yeah,
Look
go
at
ahead.
how biased you're being. Of course, you would think God helped you because your mom is healed. But how about the people that pray for God to help them with their tumors and they die?
Now,
What was God doing then?
now here's the thing. Here's the thing where when you in the belief of God, you believe in His will and what His will is, and we go by based off of faith. And
Okay,
I've been asked this
okay.
question.
So then
I've been asked this question before, where why didn't
Alex,
my dad heal this person? Why didn't God heal this person? Why didn't God heal this person? Right?
Alex,
And that makes us seem like, well, God is picking certain people to heal, right? But in reality, that's not the fact. The thing is, when we learn to live in God's will, but it all goes back to the same thing. We go based
Alex,
off
you're
of
yapping. You're yapping, sir. You're yapping. Hold on a
no, it's
second.
not called yapping.
You
It's
just
called yapping.
conceded.
It's called yapping when
Alex,
I'm trying to get to the point,
you've
but you're not letting me.
just conceded without you even knowing that you have no reliable way to know God helped you or your mom. You have no way to know it because perhaps it wasn't God, perhaps it was another possibility. You don't know with any reliable way that God helped you. You have no way to know this. You
Now,
still haven't shown us that it was actually cancer and what kind of cancer it was. You still haven't shown us this.
so we go based off of the Bible, right? What the Bible says and this, right?
No,
And some
we
people,
don't. No,
no,
not
I'm
right.
talking
We
about
don't
us.
care
I'm
about
talking
the
about
Bible. The
no, I'm talking
Bible
about.
is a book of mythology.
I know, but I'm talking about us Christians, right? We go based off the Bible and
Okay,
this
so
and this.
bring in the
But when it
facts
comes
now.
to
Where's the facts? Where's the facts?
yeah, but when it comes to, like, for example, general science believes in certain things that have been written years ago. General history thinks about things that have been written years ago, studied by people years ago, right? So everything, if you come down to it, everything we believe comes down to what people have written or what people have created years ago. So going
No,
based
that's
off of
not
that,
true. No, that's not true. We don't
why
just
do you?
follow whatever somebody said years ago because it was written years ago. We follow the data. We follow the archaeological evidence, the historical evidence, the physical, concrete evidence of things that exist throughout history.
And who
We don't just
created?
say, "Oh, look, the Bible says it, therefore it's true." That's
But who made?
garbage.
My question is, who made the data?
Nobody made the data.
Well,
The
you're saying
data exists
we
in the
believe.
world, and we
I
are here
know.
to discover it.
I know what I'm saying. Yeah, we discover it. So what can it be? How can that not be true that someone found data, they discovered data, and why can it not be true that they maybe changed some things, got their own perspective, and it made certain beliefs come out of something that someone made up? Because we're going based off like what the Bible, something that was made up, the Bible, something that was created, made up.
Alex, you're
How?
just yapping. You're just babbling. I don't even know what you're saying.
It's because it's not babbling. What I'm trying to
Let's
say,
get
right?
back to square one. Let's go back a second. How do you know God helped your mom and it wasn't something else?
Well, what I'm seeing here, we're gonna end up going to the same point, right? What I just want to say is this: I trust.
Look, I'm happy that your mom is better, but we don't know that God helped her. We just don't know that.
Yo,
Hi, what do you got for us?
I just want to know, like, what gives you so much confidence that God doesn't exist?
Which God? There's a billion different types of gods.
Just, the common, image of God, like all-knowing, all-powerful, all good.
Oh, well, there's lots of logical inconsistencies within that definition, right? What's all-knowing mean? And there's a conundrum. I mean, how do you know everything, right? In the definition of all-knowing, wouldn't that include knowing that you know everything? How is that possible? Couldn't there be something outside of your knowledge that you're not aware of? Like, how do we actually define these things? And that's why I think God doesn't exist. It can't even define it properly, let alone the fact that there's no evidence for it at all.
So you've always thought like this?
I've always been rational, yes. Now, do you have any evidence for God?
No, I'm just asking, like, what gives you so much confidence? Because if you ask a Christian, they'll tell you, you know, Christianity is right with so much confidence.
It's not that I'm just this arrogantly confident person who's like, there's no God. What I'm doing is I'm asking the right questions. What's the evidence? Where's God? How do we know? How do we falsify for God? I'm asking the right questions. And I'm open to I'm the most open person there is. I'm open to there being a God. I just want a good reason. Whereas the Christian is the confident one saying there is a God with no evidence. They're not being rational. And that's why the Christian is at fault here, I think, in my view.
So do you think science has the answer for everything?
Science may not have the answer to everything, but religion has the answer to nothing.
So what, you put your faith in science?
No, we don't pay faith in anything. I look at the data, I look at the evidence, and we test our hypotheses. We test our claims, and we show them to be true or not.
So what do you think happens after we die? Just black?
I think that when you die, you don't experience anymore. Not even blackness. Nothing. Just like a rock would experience. It experiences nothing. And to some people that might be sad that, you know, after you die, you go nowhere. And how can you believe that? That's terrible. But in my view, that places more importance and value on this life because it's all we got, right? The situation we're in today, our friends, our family will never be here again, in my view. And that's why things are more important, more incredible, in my view.
So what do you think, like, why do you think we were put here?
I don't think there was a why we're put here. I don't think we're placed here by some kind of a wizard who cares where people live. I think that we happen to be here by chance. And that makes it, you know, all that more incredible that we are here by chance, that we can think, that we can feel, that we can experience by chance. And I don't see any reason why we had to be placed here, but there could be reason, but I want evidence of that.
So you're just looking for evidence?
Yeah, I want to know the truth. What is the truth?
But don't you think there is, like, do you think there is evidence that there isn't a creator?
I don't know what a creator would be like. I don't know if there's evidence of it. I haven't seen any yet.
You've never studied religion?
I've studied it enough to realize that it's baseless.
How about the scientific, like, miracles that each book, like, has? Is there no scientific miracles?
There are no scientific miracles. No.
Really?
Give me an example.
No, I'm just seeing, like, you know, many people on TikTok be like scientific miracles of the Quran, the Bible. And so, like, and they give
most of those so-called miracles can be explained. Like for their Eucharistic miracles, like for like oil in the Bible, that's just oil pockets that priests put in there, make it look like oil spewing out of the Bible. The Eucharistic miracles where the Eucharist turns into blood or something, that's explained through chemical phenomena. There are various so-called miracles that have been debunked and are easily explained through better natural explanations. There's no evidence of a miraculous being doing those things.
So would you say not believing God gives you like a different perspective on life?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say, I would argue, a way better perspective of life, because when you detach yourself from religion, when you detach yourself from a belief in God, you recognize how harsh reality can be, but you also become comfortable with that, such that you become less fearful of things. You become more tolerant of others and their flaws. You aren't so reactionary all the time about whatever things you don't understand. You're more accepting of things you don't understand, and you want to know what they're all about, and you're more curious about it. Instead of saying, well, it's God, it's God, it's God, you're asking better questions, and you're able to learn better things and more things for it. And that's why I think atheism and secularism is a way better perspective than saying God did it and blanketing everything God's work, like having the God goggles on and everything you see is God. think that's very limiting.
So what would you say to people who like, you know, say like, oh, I feel God, like I feel his presence?
It sounds cute. I feel God, I feel this. But when I have sex, I feel great, right? Does that mean there's a sex God? That's no, I think that what we're doing in that sense is personifying reality. We're making we're trying to feel like there's somebody out there that cares about us, right? And this is how we all want to feel like. We all want to feel like somebody out there cares about me. And when I have certain feelings or thoughts or dreams, even that there's somebody telling me to do certain things, somebody's guiding me, right? And this is a very human thing to believe. It's just not convincing to me that there is actually somebody out there who cares about us. When I look around at the world and see tons of wrongness and evil that occurs, that is largely gratuitous and could be prevented easily if there was such a God.
So would you say you're afraid of death?
Of course, I'm afraid of death.
Right.
But although I'm afraid of dying, I'm more afraid of not living my fullest. I'm more afraid of living but wasting it, wasting my life by succumbing to these fearful ideologies, succumbing to biases from other people, right? And the more popular notion of what reality is about. I want to know the truth, and I want to be as honest and truthful as can be, and that's why I fear not living the most. Because in order to live the most, you need to be honest with yourself.
So, I mean, the signs give a reason how, like, the human, existence came in, or, like, what do you think? Like, how do you think we came in?
Absolutely. Yeah, good question. Where did we come from? These are great questions. How did humans get here? How did we get here? And if you look at the science, there's a plethora of examples that explain our existence as we are today. Evolution, biological evolution. We are made of molecules. Our bodies are molecular machines that operate chemically over time, and there's a very elaborate processes behind our existence. But the point is that we can explain these through more simpler processes through evolution. There's abiogenesis, where simple chemical molecules like amino acids can turn into larger chains of polypeptides and larger chains, things like RNA and DNA. So there's a cascade of evolutionary processes that have occurred biologically, chemically, and cosmically that explain our existence. And it's exciting and exhilarating to learn the science.
I mean, would you say religion is the biggest lie in society?
Well, lie implies that there's an intentional aspect to it. I don't think that religion is only a lie. I think that it can be used to lie, but I think that religion was just a mythology that was produced out of people's ignorance of the past. They were misinformed. They were scared. They were skeptical where they shouldn't have been skeptical, and too faithful where they shouldn't have been too faithful. It's just a cumulative. It's the accumulation of errors from people's thinking of the past, and that's what religion is today.
All right.
Okay.
Fair enough. Good conversation.
Thank you.
All right. So look. So.
How old are you?
I'm 16. All right. But look, I want to say something. What makes you say that God's not?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
Okay, and what do you got?
Okay, I just want to let you know that we all are connected. We all are one consciousness. So that means that we all are God, experiencing our own experience. We all are walking universes. Did you know that? Everybody on this earth is a walking universe and experiencing their own reality.
Yes, this is a very interesting idea you have there, Red. Very interesting, and I'm sure you've grown to like this idea.
It's not an idea.
Look. What does this all mean, right? We're our
This
own
means that we are
universes.
all connected. This means that we are all God.
And
Every
how are we connected?
person,
How are we all connected? Is there a
we are
wire that
all one
connects all of us?
consciousness. We are all one consciousness
How?
because we are all connected. That's how.
How? How are we connected? Wires? Is
Did
there
you know?
wires sticking out of
Okay.
me?
Did you know that? Are you familiar with something called the Vatican in Russia?
Yeah. So can you explain why we're all connected now?
Okay, I'm about to get deeper into it.
Is it
They're
Bluetooth?
releasing.
Are we
Okay, they're
connected via
releasing.
Bluetooth?
They're releasing real artifacts and real information on people and the first people to the land, just the native people. And they are discovered that the first person ever was a black person.
Look, don't kick me out. Let me talk.
How old are you?
What makes you think that God's not?
There's no evidence of it. No evidence. Yappity yap yap, don't come back.
Yo.
Hi, what's your evidence for God?
So, just want to get a better understanding is that you used a lot of phrases of empirical evidence, empiricism, holding to naturalism. Are you presupposing that the worldview?
Not a worldview. I don't have a worldview, but do you have any evidence for God?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much it's going to be a premise-based argument. You familiar with it?
Yeah, what is it?
Premise one is a position which leaves you with only two incorrect options, cannot be correct. Premise two, atheism is a position where it leaves you with only two incorrect options. Therefore, atheism can't be correct. If atheism is incorrect, then it necessarily supposes that God exists. But in order to give a false dichotomy, and how you would have to refute that is to prove that a third possible option would exist.
What are the options entailed by atheism? That doesn't make any sense.
How does that not make sense?
What are the options we're left with? What are you
You
even
would
talking
have
about?
premise one, a position which leaves you with only two incorrect options cannot be correct.
Okay, what are the options that atheism leads us to that are incorrect?
You're pretty much, you're being irrational in terms of you're saying that nothing exists, but you can't ground why that doesn't
I
exist.
don't say nothing exists. I don't believe that. That's a straw man.
It's not a straw man.
Your
You would
argument
have
is
to-
a straw man. Your argument
like,
is an
what would
entire
you-
straw
but-
man.
But that's the premise of God, is that you would have to also understand that you said earlier that the universe always existed, right? So you believe in eternal universe.
I don't believe that. I'm saying it's a possibility.
But how do you know that?
Because it's logically valid. It's not invalid to think that the universe is infinite.
Well, it can't be infinite because it hasn't always been there. You would have to prove
That's question begging. I'm sorry, sir.
it's not. You would have to.
But we don't know if the universe is infinite or not. It could be infinite. It also could not be infinite. Either are possible. So
All right, well, let me
what is
run.
your- what is
Let
so?
me.
how am I
I'll show
incorrect
you.
here?
I'll show you why the infinite isn't the universe isn't infinite.
Okay, this is gonna be. This is
How
gonna
long?
be hilarious.
How long
Go
would
ahead.
how long would it take someone to jump rope 10 times?
10 seconds.
How long would it take someone to jump 55 times?
55 seconds.
So if we keep going on and on about this, how long would it take you to get to infinite?
Infinite time.
That's logically impossible. You cannot count infinite amount of times.
The problem with your argument is that it assumes the A theory of time, such that time has some kind of passing notion to it, that it's tensed, that time moves from A to B. But that's not how time actually necessarily works. There could also be something called a B theory of time, in the sense that there is no passage of moment to moment. All moments are equally real. And that is another view of time that this completely disputes the notion that you can't traverse an infinite number of times. That's not how time really works.
So does time actually exist, or is it an illusion?
Well, time exists. It's just that the illusion is the passage of time, and this is what Einstein demonstrates with relativity: that time doesn't pass necessarily. That everybody's time is different depending on their positions, their velocities, and there is no time for the universe. There's no universal time of the universe. Everybody's time's different, and it's all relative.
So you're trusting based off what people feel versus what actually is? Like, I'm confused.
No, so relativity has been
but-
experimented on. Relativity is a very solid theory that explains a lot about what we observe. We can measure time dilation, and time dilation is a great piece of data that shows time doesn't pass for everybody in the same way. And that's why the B theory is taken seriously in science. It's not taken seriously. Your argument is not taken seriously at all. In fact, the Elliott argument is a complete joke.
Well, I mean, obviously that guy obviously has more of a better understanding of it because he made it. And obviously that's
No,
like
he doesn't. That guy has no understanding of physics at all. He's a complete fraud.
Yeah, but
charlatan.
Yeah, but you would still have to beg the question saying, how did time come into existence from nothing?
Nobody ever said it came into existence from nothing.
You just said that time was always is, and that we can measure time. And
If it always was, then there was no coming into. It always was.
Yeah, but you're saying that time exists independently. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Because you're not familiar with the science about this. Time is just a measurement of movements or coordinates, which we can designate coordinates throughout the entire universe, just as we do with space. So in the B theory, we treat time just like we treat space. And in that sense, all time exists, just like all the space exists with a cube, right? In a cube, all of its coordinates exist at one time. The same what we're saying with time itself, that all times exist at once. There's nothing inconsistent there. There's nothing invalid. In fact, it's backed by empirical data.
Yeah, but you would also have, like, empirical data can't explain phenomenons. Like, you can only measure things that exist, exactly what you just said. Like, you can't measure that. Like, do you believe that cold actually exists?
A cold or a hot or heat, these are descriptions of certain frequencies or motions of particles in particular objects, in particular mediums. That's all cold is talking about, referring to.
Yeah, but do you think it exists? Like, how do you know it's there?
It exists as a description.
Yeah, but it's just the absence of heat. So, like, you physically can't prove that something is cold.
We can.
No, you can't.
No, you're correct in the sense that there is no objective notion of coldness in the universe. So I agree. There's no separate ontology of coldness beyond what's physical. But we can, when we talk about coldness, like I said, we're referring to the motions of particles, and that's objective, right? We can measure how the average temperature of objects. So temperatures are objective in the sense that we can measure how fast particles are moving. We just say that it's cold or hot, relatively speaking. And that's the point.
That still doesn't, like, let us know, like, how it all came into existence. You're just basically stating, that's like circular reasoning. Like, if there's heat, there has to be cold. If there's good, there has to be evil. Like, it doesn't follow.
No, you're committing a category error by suggesting that these terms, these abstractas, are somehow tethered to something concrete.
Can you prove?
No, they're just what?
Can you prove that with the laws of logic? Can you prove that they exist with empirical evidence? Because you have to use your five senses to justify.
They exist. That makes no sense.
You're asking, but here's hold on.
Logic exists.
Let me clarify. You're asking for proof, though, right? So you have to also understand.
Not right. I'm asking for evidence of God.
Well, it's basically like there's a lot of different, the cosmological argument. There's so many arguments the argument from motion, but these are all presuppositional cases.
That's the argument for motion is even worse than what you presented today. I'm sorry, sir, but there is no good evidence of God.
No, I've heard plenty of arguments that people can argue it from.
But they're bad. There are no good arguments for God.
But you're appealing to your own emotion. You're just saying how you feel.
Okay, then bring up a solid argument and I'll debunk it here. Go ahead, I'll try me.
So then how would you justify that the Bible has been around for 2,000 years and has been the #1 sold book in in the world? So with the founding values,
It's the #1 book because it's been forced upon people. The Bible was forced upon people in Rome.
Yeah,
And
but
if they were not Christians, they would get the death penalty. This has happened under many emperors in Rome.
But
And that's why it's the most popular book in the world, because it was forced upon people.
Yeah, but under social unity, what would you replace it with? You would have to argue that there would be something logical to
I wouldn't
replace
replace
that
it with anything. I would replace it with education. Okay, not a book of nonsense.
That's not an argument. That's just basically how you feel. See, again.
Okay, so then what is your argument for God that's valid and sound? Go ahead.
Well, pretty much you just said that you believe that it's a possibility that the universe is which is eternal, which is logically impossible because nothing can come from nothing. But that's the thing though, is that when you presuppose God is the case, then you're pretty much saying that with God's existence, he doesn't have a beginning, therefore he doesn't need to.
Where's your argument for God? Go. One last chance. Give me the syllogistic form of it.
You're not understanding it. That's the problem.
Okay. Have a good day, sir. Is anybody watching the DNC? Is Obama on yet? I want to see Obama. Can anybody tell me who's speaking? Good job for going up, Turbo. Yeah, look, guys. If you come up to my live and know who I am, you got courage. You got balls. Okay, you got balls to come up here. Period. Unless you don't know me, but if you know me and you come up here, you got balls. So yeah, of course I give credit where credit's due. But in terms of your arguments, they're shit. I'm sorry. I'm just honest. All right. Wow, nobody's telling me who's talking. Okay, let me. I'll have to find out myself. Give me a second. People are saying add Vinny. Make it quick. Make it quick. Hello.
No.
Hi. What's your argument?
So I have a question for you. Have you ever seen life come from non-life?
Yeah. What do you think life is?
Well, based off of my experience, life comes from life. There's a creator, and it's far more believable.
So you didn't answer the question. What do you think life is, right? In order to answer this question, please explain what you mean. Define what life means. Go ahead.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is that what is more believable? A guy died on a cross, resurrected 3 days later, or to believe the Big Bang Theory? Because there's no proof of the Big Bang.
The Big Bang by far. The Big Bang by far.
Not even close.
What is the Big Bang?
It's fake. That's what it is.
No. So the Big Bang is the expansion, the observable expansion of the known universe, and we can still see it with telescopes. CMB radiation, the redshifting of galaxies, all these pieces of data show that the Big Bang occurs. Now, in terms of life from non-life, life is a process, right? It's replication, reproduction, metabolism. These are processes of life. And when we're talking about life from non-life, that is observable because we know what life is. It's just a process that non-life does, right? So amino acids are not live. Polypeptides are not a living thing. DNA is not alive. DNA is not alive. What makes these things come alive is when they interact with each other. And that process, that electrochemical process, is what generates life from non-life. You are made of non-life, but what makes you alive is the fact that all these molecules work systematically together chemically.
What makes us alive
that's-
is God. The reason we are able to think, the reason we're able to do anything is because of God. If the Big Bang was real, we are all just biochemical reactions. We can't do anything. The reason why we do everything is because of God.
Or maybe the reason why we do everything is because those biochemical reactions are dictated by laws of the universe, which are deterministic.
There's zero evidence for the Big Bang. There's zero.
Oh, let me go ahead and describe 4 pieces of evidence for them. Here, number 1 is this cosmic microwave background radiation. This is microwave radiation that we see around the universe in a spherical manner that demonstrates that one time the universe is smaller and hotter. We also see evidence of redshifting of galaxies. When we look at galaxies in the universe, we find that they're actually redshifted. In other words, their light is moving away from us. They're moving away from us. That signifies that all the galaxies are expanding. The universe is expanding entirely, collectively. Another piece of evidence for the Big Bang is the abundance of elements in the universe in the specific ratios. Lithium, hydrogen, helium, we would expect those to be existing in the universe in certain ratios because of the Big Bang, something called Big Bang nucleosynthesis, which produces them in certain ratios. And what we predict from the physics is what we observe in the world, and that's evidence of the Big Bang. And the last piece of big evidence for the Big Bang is these original stellar clouds, which contain some of the hydrogen and helium, and we find these all around the universe. And that signifies that there was once a universe that was full of hydrogen and helium from the Big Bang. So yeah,
you're believing that life comes from nothing.
I didn't say that, sir. You didn't understand what I told you. You don't have to
Well, the
explain it
Big
to me
Bang
again.
is life is coming from nothing. So you're believing life is coming from nothing, other than
No.
someone who lived a sinless life and died on a cross
Vinny,
for us.
It seems like you didn't listen to anything I told you.
I listened to everything you said, and the reason why I didn't listen closely
Okay,
is
so
because
what's
it's
the
fake.
Big Bang? So
It's
go ahead and
it's
explain to me.
fake. It's fake. Jesus Christ is king, and you guys need to all find God before it's too late. That's
okay.
all I'm gonna say.
So, Vinny-
I'm gonna believe someone who sacrificed his life for all of us on a cross rather than the Big Bang, which we have zero proof of. You could read upon stuff and you can preach it all day long about the Big Bang, but it is fake. I'm gonna believe that life came from a creator rather than it came from nothing.
Okay.
Everyone
so
find God before it's too
what
late.
exactly did
Jesus Christ
die
is king.
for?
Jesus
So
Christ
what
is
did-
king.
So what did he die for? We're still sinners, right? He died for nothing. Why couldn't Jesus walk the dog for our sins? Why did he have to come down to earth, pretend he died like a drama queen for 2 days, and then go right back up to heaven and pretend he's the king of the world? That's ridiculous. That's what a drama queen would do. I'm sorry, but Jesus could have done a way better job in helping us and helping our world instead of coming down and pretending he saved everybody, and then we're all still in a shitty world. He didn't save us for anything. And by the way, Jesus was the one who made the world this way, so he's saving us from things that he did in the first place to us. We don't need saving if he put us here in the first place. It's like throwing your child into the Arctic Ocean and saying, oh no, he needs saving. Let me go and save him. Got him. If I wasn't here, you'd be dead. Well, you threw me in the ocean in the first place, right? He didn't have to throw us in the ocean, just like Jesus didn't have to make this world so shitty. He could have made a world without any evil, without any harm, and yet we're still here, in a world where many people can be helped. People starving, people with disease, look around you, there's a lot of harshness in the world. And to me, if I was God and had the ability to save everybody, I would do that. I wouldn't just save everybody, I would save the ones who need it the most. People who are suffering from cancer, people who are starving, I would help them first. I would make sure that nobody was starving if I was God. No innocent child should be starving. So, when we look around at all this evil, I think that suggests that God ain't real. And if he is real, he's a giant prick. But other than that, guys, I gotta go. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you again soon. Follow, subscribe to my YouTube, by the way, link in bio, and stay curious.